Emil, can you please be the one to monitor comments?
See, are we audible, Jasper?
Yes,
Ayun.
now. Yes.
Yes,
You're audible. Welcome.
Yeah. Welcome, guys. Another Thursday live stream. And the usuals are here. Julian, D Prime, what's up?
Hey.
What up? What up?
Bruce.
Shout out to
Oh, sabi ni
France.
Jasper, shout out to France. Yeah, that was a great crowd ng weekend.
Wait, kala ko yung France na listener natin. France the country.
yeah, he spelled it as the country. So
Diba? He spells it the same way, right? Am I wrong?
no, I think France with the Z.
France with the Z.
Parang France
Okay.
pumarin, gano'n.
Okay. Mali pala ako. Yeah, shout out to Paris, man. What an electric crowd.
I love during Raw for that one whole commercial break. They never stopped yung chinachant nila kay AJ.
Oh.
That song that was so incredible.
Yeah, it's a song called Il est vraiment phénoménal.
Oh, that's why. yeah, kaya pala because of the word phenomenon. Yeah.
Actually, lumalabas din yung title na yan dun sa closed captioning because I watch my things with closed captioning on.
Yeah.
And it says crowd singing the French song with phenomenal.
Yeah, it just means he truly is phenomenal.
Yeah, he is. That entire break, that entire 3-minute break, the crowd just kept singing. It was incredible.
Actually, yung pagkanta nila nung song na yun for AJ Styles also reflects disco culture or dance culture in France. Kasi that song is a disco song. No.
Really?
Yeah, not just the whole football singing. No, not that. Specifically yung disco
song.
culture in France.
That's cool.
Football kasi yung kay Penta, di ba? They did the ole, which is
that's a football, yeah.
But that's generic.
Yeah.
Kasi diba they've done that for Sami Zayn, and then they co-opted for like different wrestlers. Pero the Phenomenal Club song is specifically for AJ Styles. They did that na rin last year in the lead up to Backlash, diba? And when Backlash happened in Lyon.
Ang galing nung crowd, no? They thought they thought of that chant and got so over. Glendale, what's up, Doc G? He says Merry Christmas now. You can say it's bare months.
Oo nga pala.
Shut the fuck up with that Christmas in September bullshit. No, we will not have that here.
Kailan ka pa naging gatekeeper ng Christmas?
Why are you mad? Why are you mad?
Why are you such a Grinch? What is wrong with you?
December is when Christmas starts. December is when I will acknowledge it.
Ikaw lang, pero the rest of the Philippines has already started celebrating.
You will go be a part of that. Sige.
Tell that to the people who are already selling Christmas decorations like as early as August.
Yeah.
It's so dumb, man.
Julian asked kung nakabawi ka na daw sa tulog style. Because you did spend the last weekend calling...
Anong last weekend? 2 weeks, man. Naka-Europe time kami.
Oh, yeah. Because of the Raw SmackDown as well. Yeah.
Pahirapan. I've been trying. It's been tough.
Thank you. Night shift tips kay Emil.
Ina, what's up? Hello? Yeah. So, the usuals are coming in.
Okay, lapit time start.
There you go. Yep.
Selfishly, I'm not excited for the Road to Royal Rumble.
Yeah, the January.
Yeah.
Isang buwan kampo yan.
Di naman, 2 weeks ulit.
Diba? Kasi yung iba pala live lang.
Yeah.
But at least in October, you'll get to call like yung same time zone, the Perth shows. Diba?
Yeah, for like 1 weekend.
Yeah.
20 seconds.
So.
All right, time to shut up now.
Let's go.
Please hit my music and yeet.
My name is Colin Cash Money Cannon.
What do we want to talk about?
Hey, this is the Cosmic Cactus, Paul London.
You're still just a kid. Hello, WWE Universe in the Philippines. This is Charlotte.
Because mommy is always on top.
This is Lola Vice. I love you so much.
They love my Latina heat.
What's going on? This is Xavier Woods, aka Austin Creed.
You are CM Punk.
We are pretty deadly. Yes, boy. Yes, boy.
To say his name.
Say his name and he appears.
Stan C, the voice of Philippine wrestling. University of the Philippines, Diliman.
Romoran, the fancy dad. University of the Philippines, Diliman.
Chino Liao, Best Gout Machine, San Sebastian College Recoletos, College of St. Benilde, De La Salle University, International Academy of Film and Television.
Emil Nate, small forward, the Ateneo de Naga University.
When you're listening.
You're listening.
And you're listening.
And you're listening to the Wrestling Podcast. And you're listening to the Wrestling Podcast.
To the Wrestling Podcast.
Wrestling Podcast.
Hola, Wrestling Podcast.
The Wrestling Podcast.
You're listening to the Wrestling Podcast. Yeah.
You're watching and listening to the longest running weekly episodic Filipino wrestling podcast. This is the Wrestling Podcast. Stan C, Chino Liao, Emil Nate, all together on your Thursday night live stream. No Ro on the show for this week. He is out for personal reasons. Pero okay lang. He's actually in a good place or off to a good place in Baguio. Papalamig siya dun. So, habang siya nagpapalamig, tayo nagpapaaral pa rin ng mga scholar ng bayan. Kaya tayo nagtatrabaho. Marami tayong binubuhay.
Nagpo-fund pa din tayo ng mga trips nila abroad, tsaka mga nose job nila, mga luxury cars nila.
Dami natin binubuhay, nakakaya naman pag di tayo nagtrabaho.
Huwag kayong tatamarin, guys.
Dami umaasa sa atin.
Pag tinamad kayo, isipin nyo na lang, paano na lang sila mag-Europe. Paano na lang sila sasakay sa Rolls Royce.
Pag kailangan nyo mag-resign sa trabaho, putsa, ang kakapal na mga mukha nyo. Huwag kayong mag-resign.
How dare you, babyface producer Jasper? How dare you?
Teka, wala nga akong ina-out eh. Ikaw naman, Chino, sinasabi ko lang, pag nag-iisip kang mag-resign, ang kapal na mukha mo, may binubuhay ka. Yun lang sinasabi ko. Wala akong pinatatama ang babyface producer.
How selfish of you. That's right. You are selfish. Think of the billionaires who cannot afford to go to Europe because you don't pay taxes anymore.
Paano yung mga yung mga luxury bags, 'di ba? Pucha, mga mas mahal pa yun sa mga buhay nyo. Kailangan nila mabili yun para malagay sa social media, 'di ba? Lecheng buhay tong puta. Anyway, if you like what we do here on the podcast, please hit the subscribe button or the follow button on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. Whatever katiting na perang makukuha namin mula sa social media, kukunin namin yan kasi di naman namin afford yung mga luxury brand.
Yeah, also if you really, really love what we do and you want to support us, we are out here looking for sponsors. Lahat lalapitan na namin, pati si Sarah Diskaya. Napaulanan lang kami ng sponsorship, guys. Ganun na kami. Ganun na kami. No, if you have a product you want us to shill, if you have a company you want us to put over, if you want to have Emil Nate, play a Nate on somebody or something specific, hit us up. Hit up our email. It is hello wrestling podcast at gmail.com.
Hello dot, may dot yun. Hello dot wrestling podcast at gmail.com.
Spelled exactly how it sounds. Medyo mahaba. It's hello dot wrestling podcast at gmail.com. We will send over our sponsorship package, let you know what you get in return for your hard-earned, non-taxable money.
Yun, yes.
Pwede nyo kami i-DM. Okay lang din. Madali rin naman
On our
kami kausap
socials,
via
pwede din.
DM.
Yes. Ayun.
Yeah. So it's at Roeswar, at Chino Supersized, at EML_Meister, and at _Stan C. Emil Nate, let them know another way to support us with their non-taxable money.
Ayun. So another way to help the podcast, is through our Patreon and Gang program. The links are patreon.com/wrestling podcast and gangnow.com/wrestling2xpod for as low as $5. And that $5 monthly goes a long way in helping us in what we do here on the podcast. There are perks and benefits. There's for the community. There's the first dibs to everything. Everything that we do, every pasabay, events, viewing parties, you always get first dibs for those. And again, the $5 that you send us monthly goes a long way in helping us maintaining what we do here, going strong for 11 years. So thank you guys to our current patrons, and thank you to our sa magiging future patrons namin. Again, the links are patreon.com/wrestling podcast and gangnow.com/wrestling2xpod for as low as $5.
All right, one last thing we got to shill. Emil Nate, let them know about that Converge Netflix bundle.
Ayun. So over the weekend, we got a lot of WWE content. We got Raw and SmackDown at 2 a.m. in the morning, and then Clash at 2 a.m. as well. And people are still wondering where they could get their WWE fix. And there are two ways. First, Blast TV, through Tap Sports. And if you have VPN, you could access them through Netflix, and you could enjoy both the best experience through the Converge Netflix bundle. There's 3 tiers to that bundle, of course, $17.98 and $9.98 and $22.98. Sobrang sulit. Aside from the high speed internet, you also get the experience box where you can use to watch your favorite movies, favorite wrestling shows. Lahat na, even local channels. If you want to keep up with the local news, it's all there. Included in that as well is a free Netflix account and yung bagong Wi-Fi modem, which helps bring in those high internet speeds, so you could subscribe or upgrade your plan through emailing through email sa customer service ng Converge, or if kung merong local Converge office in your area, you could go there as well. And sila na yung bahala sa iyo na. So again, we're always putting over Converge because they deliver the best service. Even though nung isang araw medyo bumagal nung isang hapon, we almost couldn't record, but they pulled through at the end.
You just literally put them over before burying them. What the hell is wrong with you?
Yeah,
how are brands gonna trust us if you're gonna fuck them over like that, Emil Nate?
So yun nga, they always pull through at the end. That's why they are the best. Ayun.
That is not how you put a brand over. What the fuck?
Alright,
wala nagsisponsor sa atin eh.
Why? What is wrong with you?
Yeah, at least they pulled through. Yeah.
No, walang at least. Bad Emil Nate.
Do not try to redeem yourself.
That was an L.
Yeah, kung yung boss mo sa like on camera, on the mic, I will have torn you a new one and fired you immediately.
That won't happen again. Sorry.
God damn. All right. Let's start with some news from outside the ring. Ito, medyo fresh. A few hours ago, Fightful Select reported that, quote, numerous people of influence within WWE, end quote, are pushing for the company to run a premium live event in Hong Kong. So, yeah, I don't know what to make of this other than, wow, that is probably as close as WWE will get to the Philippines in quite some time.
Yeah, medyo surprising tong balita na to if proven to be true, because I didn't have Hong Kong on my bingo card as far as countries to have WWE in them, let alone wrestling in them, to happen. So ang laking bagay nito for Filipino fans, because even let's say and this might be a little here out of touch here. So kahit sabihin natin sobrang gamahal nung tickets to the show, right, to the PLE, right, because it is Hong Kong and it is the WWE. Flights to Hong Kong are fairly affordable, diba? Accommodations in Hong Kong fairly affordable as well. So if you guys are never gonna make it to a Mania in the US, diba, you think that's out of reach for you, kung mangyari man to, this is the time to do it. This is the next best thing, diba? They're trying out Perth this October. Diba? We thought that was the closest. And then they got even closer with Hong Kong. So, ang laking bagay ito for local wrestling fans.
Yeah.
Emil. It is a surprise kasi if there's a Southeast Asian country who, I think WWE might consider for a PLE.
Hong Kong is not a country.
Oh, okay. If there was a place, that I think WWE would consider holding a show or PLE, I thought it would be Singapore. To be completely honest, but this is, if this ever happens, in tama si Chino, this is like the closest. The closest we have been to a WWE show since like when the last time they came here was just 2019.
No, not just a show, a PLE.
PLE, So
ang dami nagsasabi na, sana premium live event dito sa Pilipinas, sa Philippine Arena, parang, eto na yan, this is probably as good as it'll get.
Sobrang lapit na nun, no? Saka malay natin, di ba? Pinag-isipan na nila Philippines, no?
Why
never
though?
say. I mean, never say
never. Exactly.
No, that's
Hong Kong.
I don't know if that'll happen kung mayayari man yung Philippines, but think about it. About how bad traffic is and about how bad like parking and accessibility can be at these major arenas. If you know, you know.
Yeah.
Feeling ko mas like if you have a passport and if you can afford to spring for a flight, I think going to Hong Kong or Singapore or wherever area na malapit sa atin is probably a better bet than hoping against all hope na magkaroon ng PLE dito sa Pilipinas.
Now, to be fair, it's not like Hong Kong has cakewalk traffic too. Medyo malala din yung traffic doon.
Pero at least meron silang working subway system, like an actual system with multiple lines and transit points.
Fine, pero hindi mo naman din pagsasubwayin si Cody Rhodes, diba? So...
Siyempre may van sila, ano ka ba? Kung naman Chino, iniisip ko yung mga tao, hindi yung mga wrestlers, ano ka ba?
Okay.
Like, what's like the biggest stadium in Hong Kong?
I don't know. Yeah, probably.
Okay.
That's where they had the Coldplay played there, a few international artists played there, comedians, they had the NBA there, I believe. Not too long ago, like pre-pandemic wise. So may malaking capacity sila for, arenas, or they have an arena with a large capacity.
Yeah. So, yun, something to watch out for in the next year or so with how, these PLEs pop up seemingly out of nowhere, but you never know. Could be as close as maybe the PLE after WrestleMania. Hindi natin alam. I personally don't know anything either. Like, I just find out na, okay, itong date, may PLE tayo. That's it. So don't go looking for information from me. I wouldn't know shit. Okay, let's take a break. When we come back, let's get through the highlights of Monday Night Raw. But first, an Emil Nate dance break. Let's get through the highlights of Monday Night Raw and start with Becky Lynch's involvement in the never-ending or seemingly never-ending Seth Rollins and CM Punk storyline. So, Becky Lynch went out there instead of Seth Rollins nung hinanap siya ni CM Punk. And sabi ni Becky kay Punk, everything you've done, everything you've said, you think that only affects Seth? Diba? That's the man of my, the father of my child. That is my husband. Of course, that all affects me. And then she proceeded to taunt him, daring him to hit her, lay a hand on her, slapping him and hitting him, all to seemingly dare Punk when we all know na CM Punk wouldn't, but he seemingly alluded to getting in touch with someone who may or who might
be in Chicago. Diba? Kasi he also teased that. He asked right after the power couple that is Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch made their escape. Si CM Punk asked where SmackDown was going to be. And it's interesting kasi kung ibabalik nila si AJ Lee. Yeah, I guess Chicago makes sense, but why on SmackDown? Diba? It's like,
why not on SmackDown? It's still primetime TV.
Story. It's a Raw storyline.
Kasi Chicago kasi siguro.
Yeah, they're from Chicago now.
Yeah. I think that's why.
I don't know. I like how they're just wishy-washy with this brand split now all of a sudden.
Yeah, it's been like that for a while.
Yeah. So that part, it's a minor nitpick on my end. The biggest thing that I took away from this is that they really are just putting it out there that AJ Lee is coming back. So much so that I'm hoping that it's a swerve. That it's not AJ Lee. That he goes to Chicago and calls out somebody else. Diba? It might not happen, but people are just jumping to the assumptions na, oh, sinampal siya ng asawa ng kalaban niya, therefore, asawa din niya yung rest back niya. Right? So, and that's like an easy assumption to make. But I guess just the smart mark in me, just the absolute heel in me, want to see something different here. Because I don't know if I've always just seen this current era of storytelling in wrestling as this era that doesn't do the obvious thing. But I might be wrong, it might also be right. I'm hoping I'm right.
If not AJ, then who? Sino gusto mo lumabas?
At this point, probably a legend. Probably, I mean, they have Nikki Bella's already there, so I would have said her if it weren't for her. But somebody who's just like retired na babalik lang din. Or sorry, out of the company na babalik lang din. Don't really have any good answers for that. Basta yung swerve lang yung habol ko.
Yeah, whoever, if it's not AJ Lee, then that person will get booed. I'm sorry. Because they're already setting it up. It's so obvious with the promo and yung sinabi ni Punk at the end na Becky will regret putting her hands on him. Like, it's obviously pointed towards an AJ Lee return.
What makes it obvious though?
It's because it's
kasi you assumed it, kasi he never said anything about bringing out a wife, diba?
Well, that's true, but they brought up the name AJ Lee during the post-show nung Clash. So there has to be something there. So I just imagine it would be bad if it's not AJ Lee who comes out on Friday. Or, kung kailan man lalabas yung Smack ni Punk.
Mm-hmm. What do you think of reasons ni Becky for getting involved in this story?
It's a weird reason for me. It's a weird reason. First of all, I like how hindi siya nalunod dito sa promo na to. Because, yeah, she's okay on the mic, but you're going up against CM Punk here. Right? One of the best on the mic. So it's very easy to be overwhelmed. Lalo na with just the aura of Punk. Diba? How people just suddenly start chanting CM Punk out of nowhere. Diba? Let alone pag nagsalita na siya. So I'm glad that Becky was able to get away with her delivery. Diba? I am just a little wishy-washy on her reasoning because it feels like we're taking the long way around with this reasoning of hers. Na parang she's using her husband as she's the producers are meta storytelling. The producers are using Becky as a reason to have AJ Lee come back into the picture. When I feel like there are more straightforward ways to do that. Diba? Does it automatically have to be with CM Punk right away? Couldn't AJ just return on her own? Why does it have to be in this tag team that all of a sudden is a thing, diba?
Okay.
Diba? Get you ba? Kasi parang AJ has her own star power, diba? And I feel like it diminishes her a little to put her alongside Punk. Kasi na overpower na siya ni Punk easily outshines anybody he's in a tag team with, diba? He's easily outshining yung si Jey Uso, sila LA Knight, diba? In that weak alliance that they had just a couple of weeks ago. So I don't know if he won't do the same to his wife, but I won't be surprised if it happens.
Gino has a good point there because I've been seeing similar comments online regarding why does AJ have to return in a storyline in a storyline with Punk rather than her returning on her own? Kasi on her own, sabi mo nga, she has so much star power that she could carry whatever program it is that she's gonna return to, and hindi niya she doesn't need Punk, she doesn't need anyone. She's a megastar. So I kind of agree with that sentiment, but yun nga, ano eh, the reasoning is kind of off for me a little bit. Parang pinilit lang talaga just to insert Becky into the feud, pero naitawid naman, in my opinion. It's just that now we're here. They're really just, for me, now they're really setting up here. Yung indication sa akin ng promo after nung Raw was they're setting up for an AJ Lee return. And, nothing else.
Okay. I'm going to respond on two levels. First level, obviously, again, I'm wearing my biased hat because I work for the company, right? But I don't know anything about the behind the scenes of how the storyline was created. Second, I'm going to respond as someone who's married because neither of you are married, so I don't think you understand the layer that Becky Lynch is weaving into this story. Sabi niya na lahat ng mga attacks ni CM Punk don't just attack Seth. They attack her family. Therefore, they also attack her. Diba? I don't know if you understand how it is to live with a person who is relentlessly being attacked by another person and how they can actually bring that into their home. That's what Becky's actually describing here. And that's why napuruhan na siya kay Punk. She decided to actually take matters into her own hands and fight alongside her husband. Yes, Seth and Becky are the heels here, but to me, it's actually understandable. Kasi I've been complaining about how bakit sina Mox and Renee parang kala mo hindi mag-asawa sa AEW. Or sina Marina Shafir and Roderick Strong parang kala mo hindi mag-asawa, di ba? Here, clearly, Seth and Becky are actually proving na, sometimes you can't just leave your work baggage at the door. Sometimes you do bring that home with you. And baka napikon na rin si Becky Lynch. She's like, you know what? Fuck you. I have a problem with you as well. Kasi like, ako personally na-experience ko na where si Ariane, my wife, has also been affected by yung dinadamdam ko, or ako na-affect ako by yung dinadamdam ni Arian na pati ako gusto ko na rin makipag-away sa mga nangaaway sa kanya. So I don't think you guys understand that yet. And if you're listening to the podcast and you're not yet married, that's something you might have to understand, or you might understand pag kinasal na kayo, because that's a different dynamic that not everyone will immediately get. So you guys asked bakit si AJ babalik through this storyline for the same reason. And this is something Punk has alluded to before. Na CM Punk became so bitter and he brought that into his household. Diba? Na parang sinabi niya na, I had to stay away from my wife for a few weeks during the Drew McIntyre feud because he was so bitter and angry he was bringing it to his home, to his marriage. So this is also another example where the wife, in this case AJ, is like, I've had enough. I've had enough of, all of this shit, and now there's a woman involved. I can't fight with Seth, but maybe I can fight with Seth's wife. That's how I read into it.
Wow.
That's
a good point.
Boy, that's a one way to look at it. Yes, tama ka. We are not married. Right? So, yung tingin ko dito sa story nito, different from the way you look at it. But then again, it makes sense, yes, but also you can't really assume that the people watching this show are all married, diba?
Sure, sure.
So it's a take for sure for married people, and for the married people that watch Raw. I'm happy for all of you, diba? Pero at the same time, that the criticism that I had, at least, of this storyline really pertains to the individuals involved in this storyline, diba? On how they can benefit in the future, right? Like, yes, morality-wise, yes, it makes sense, but heat-wise, how is that gonna work out for AJ Lee?
Mm-hmm. That's for them to explain kung paano nila gagawin yun. Ang sa akin lang is I'm giving you guys a point of view that you guys don't. And for like for the average wrestling fan who isn't married, diba? For whatever reason, it's something you'll have to understand. Maybe the Seth, Becky, and Punk characters can also flesh it out, diba, in the next couple of weeks whenever this blow-off match is supposed to happen or whatever. But I think I think that theory holds water because I'm speaking from personal experience here. Sometimes yung baggage mo when it comes to, building your home with your spouse, you can't always leave it at the door. Nadadala mo yan into your marriage, and sometimes the partner just has enough and is like, I'm gonna throw down on my partner's behalf because you fucked with my partner one too many times. And I think Becky is at that point as a character. Kaya parang for me, when I asked you guys what you thought of her reasons, nagulat ako sa mga sagot nyo because like I would have thought na parang there would have been a little bit of empathy, diba? Na parang, oh yeah, I would want my partner to be that empathetic towards my pain, my angst. Na talagang they'll be in the foxhole with me if shit hits the fan.
No, for sure. But I'm looking at this still as a story. So every time I don't use wrestling to relate to my own personality. Diba? Parang hindi naman siya psychological exercise sa akin madalas. If anything, mas tinitignan ko yung structure nitong kwento rather than the personal impact task to me. Because at the end of the day, it's entertainment. Diba? And yung criticism ko sa story is always at the arc. Never really at the bits and pieces and how they affect me in everyday life.
And then that's one layer of criticism that you'll have to learn then, how it relates to you psychologically or socially.
Does it have to be though? Does it have
could
to be?
It can be. It
Diba?
can't. Hindi pwede yung absolutely hindi is what I'm saying.
No, I'm not
when you
saying
look
that
at
also.
something, when you dissect the text, in this case wrestling, there are many different ways to look at it, and I'm telling you that relating it to your own personal experiences and seeing how it's resonant with you, valid layer din stuff analysis. That's what we do on the pod.
I accept that, but I also accept that wrestling is escapism. Entertainment is escapism. Therefore, I understand na yung pinapanood ko is a form of entertainment. And there's a story and there's an arc and there's a structure to this arc, and therefore, ina-analyze natin kung paano siya nag-make sense. Diba? So that's always how I look at things. Mababaw, yes. But I'm a writer and that's how I always write my stories out. So hindi ko na iniisip yung grand impact ng sinulat ko on people's lives, right? Because that's not for me to decide. That's for the people to decide.
Yung sa point ni Stan na being yung having empathy for the Becky character, ang naisip ko bigla doon is Seth is the one screwing with Punk though. Seth has been the one who's making Punk's life a living hell since WrestleMania. So, maintindihan ko if it's the other way around, if it's like AJ Lee who came in and screwed Seth Rollins. Kasi yun, kaya hindi ko naisip yung sinabi niya kanina. Because I'm looking at Seth as the bad guy in the story.
Isn't that what makes Becky the bad guy? The fact na you can't parang to you it doesn't make sense morally or in a justified sense, diba? Parang si Seth yung nagsimula, diba? That's basically what you're saying.
Yes,
then that entrenches Becky and Seth as the heels.
As the heels, yeah. Napag-connect na that's good point. Good point.
We're connecting dots here, diba? Yeah. It's I don't know. I actually find this exercise fun just because it forces us to bring these things out from our brains and shit.
Yeah, so, yes.
In connection to what we just talked about, medyo nagkaingay din on social media because apparently there was a tweet from the WWE Shop's X account that talked about AJ Lee's return already, and people are saying, oh, spoiler. So, nung una kala ko ano lang siya, AI lang siya or hoax lang siya, but it was on Fightful Select. Like there was an actual screenshot and everything. So, what do you guys make of this?
Andiyan na yun eh.
Yeah, address na siya. If it wasn't confirmed before, yun nga yung problema eh. Kasi Punk did not blatantly say, oh, lagot ko sa asawa ko. Diba? Or, diba? He was teasing it to the point. Kaya nga, I insinuated that, hey, hopefully this is a swerve so that all these people get work, right? Parang, kaya ako sinasabi yun kasi wala pa akong knowledge ng tweet, right? And then the tweet happened. It's like it's all but confirmed now. Diba? Ito lang yung nag-prove na tama kayo, I guess. Yan yung mga nagsasabi si AJ Lito. Kasi they pretty much confirmed it. They're making new merch for her. Diba? So the fact that it's out there, wala na sila magagawa. Diba? It's the same problem that we talked about during the Seth Rollins cash in, diba? Yung working the guys in the back, diba? How close do you have to play it to your chest in order to secure a secret? Apparently, with this storyline, not close enough. Kasi alam na ng WWE merch team na babalik si AJ Lee.
Ayun, nadulas na sila eh. So, I think all signs are basically pointing at an AJ Lee's return. And we should expect it. If not this Friday on SmackDown, sometime next week. Like, habang papalapit tayo sa WrestlePalooza PLE.
You know what? I just had to look at social media again to check kung totoo nga yung image. It was screen cat by Fightful. So, yeah, the tweet was actually sent out. Obviously, na-delete na siya by now. All I want to say is, sino man yung nagkamali, I hope that they're able to bounce back career-wise kahit pa paano, no?
Sana may trabaho pa sila.
Regardless of where they work, ano na lang, best of luck in their future endeavors. Yun na lang. One last thing here from Raw before we take another break. We're getting Io Sky versus Stephanie Vaquer for the vacant Women's World Championship at WrestlePalooza. So ito, in-announce na ni Adam Pearce. And after 2 non-finishes between Io and Stephanie, we're finally gonna get a conclusive finish. I don't see how we can't, kasi this is for the championship, right? And as soon as this match got announced, my brain, all it could muster was, oh yeah, man, yeah.
I love that we're gonna get this match. Yun nga, we already got this 2 times before, but we never got a finish. So now we're definitely gonna get a full match between these two, and they are like top of the business at the moment. So kahit sino sa kanila okay lang sa akin maging champion, but with the storyline kasi, I feel like may yung sa Kabuki Warriors and Io Sky, that is something that that will blow, it will blow up sa WrestlePalooza, and we might see Stephanie winning here.
It's actually important to note that tama si Emil, there is the Asuka problem still there, diba? She has been getting a little bit more aggressive as of late, diba? Coming down to Rhea Ripley for people, diba?
Si Nikki Bella nga nung Raw,
diba? Nikki Bella, yeah, shoving her away, diba? Tapos si Kyrie, kinakawawa na din niya. Diba? Naging sidekick na lang si Kyrie ngayon na Asuka, which is like so sad to look at it. Diba? Parang naging alipores na lang si Kyrie bigla. Right? So, it's going to be interesting to see what kind of role the Kabuki Warriors play in this story. I don't really know if that means matatalo si Io Sky because she still has unfinished business. For all we know, mananalo si Io Sky because of outside interference, diba? Kahit gustuhin man niya o hindi. Right? It could still be 50-50 at this point.
All right. Let's take a break. When we come back, we'll talk about NXT. So enjoy this Emil Nate dance break.
Mahal ko, pagkat saan ka man naroon, pitig ng puso ko'y para sa'yo. Naghihirap man ang aking damdamin, nagmamahal pa rin sa'yo, giliw. Libutin man kita'y di ko magawa, hindi pa rin ako nagbabago.
Let's get to NXT and talk about its highlights. And we're going to start with Hank Walker and the most innovative way to get some help. So, Delix na sina Hank and Tank against Dark State because Ricky Saints and Oba Femi were brawling all the way to the back. So nung sinakal ni Osiris si Hank Walker, he yelled, "Joe Hendry!" And he appeared.
Parang siyang summon no?
Yeah.
That's how I saw it.
It's like a spell.
In a game, diba? In an RPG or whatever. So that was a smart way to pull off an interference. And I also like how, yes, he summoned Joe Henry, but Joe Henry didn't really get physical with anybody. Diba? So parang kahit paano face win pa din siya. It was a distraction, sure. Diba? And that means Dark State is going to have their eyes set on Joe Henry now kasi they cost them the match. He cost them the match. And now, babalik na ulit tayo dun sa very circuitous storytelling ng is Trick Williams really the leader of Dark State at this point?
This shtick lately kasi di ba this started with Ren Sinclair, di ba? Saying his name once. And lumitaw siya dun sa refrigerator mo yun. Yan.
Right, so that's the background, yeah.
Ayun. So now, this had an effect to the match, which I get this whole say his name thing is just is a comedy gold, and that's where Joe Hendry excels in my opinion is yung mga comedic bits na nakakatawa, but hindi siya parang hindi siya nakakapagod panoorin, even though it can happen so many times before. That's why sobrang benta pa rin. This gag was introduced like a month ago, but benta pa rin siya until now.
Yeah, I just thought it was really innovative, diba? Lalo na talagang nasa dire situation na sina Hank and Tank. What a way to get themselves out of trouble. Not only that, pick up a win against Dark State despite your two other partners completely being out of the picture.
It was two versus four.
Yeah. Ricky and Oba came to blows. So that I also wasn't expecting because I thought they were at least going to make it through this match. But apparently they want to kick off this rivalry as hot as possible. So, hey, let's see what happens.
Yeah.
What did you guys think of Oba Femi showing a little bit more personality this week? Like he did the Ricky Saints pose. He did the honk honk. So, parang very uncharacteristic of the Rula, who has always been like, parang Nigerian Gunther up to this point, and then this happened.
It's actually necessary because that character can get pretty stale pretty fast, right? Like, yes, he's a big, scary man. But what else, diba? People are always looking for diversity. All want to laugh, diba? And now at least alam na natin that Oba is capable of so much more than just a power bomb and like an imposing pose, diba? Or a war dance that he does before the ring. So at least kahit paano, may depth siya. And that's I think if anything, that's what's holding him back. His supposed lack of depth. Kasi a lot of the times he's just been very imposing, diba? Very dominating in the ring. So at least kahit paano, may softer side pa na siya. And we'll see a side where he can face adversity and all the things that we look for in our wrestlers.
I love it kasi, di ba he's been leaning towards, although di pa naman siya fully babyface, but he's been leaning on that side for a few months now.
So no, not really. He was the heel against Javon.
Pinatungan si Javon
but he's been definitely cheered over the last, ever since 2025. So
yes, but he's not a full baby.
He's not a full babyface. Yeah, he's parang tweener at the moment. So him showing more personality, I feel like that will bode well for him once he comes up to the main roster. Kasi at least hindi one-dimensional yung character niya. Na yung yung sabi mo nga Stan, Nigerian Gunther. But if he could prove that he could have a personality beyond that. That's gonna be beneficial for his run in the long term.
All right. Now, speaking of people with different alignments, DIY made their return to NXT and they came out as baby faces with OG DIY music as in yung sample demo track na naging Rebel Heart. And they confronted Trick Williams, who was disparaging all of the NXT alumni. So obviously with Homecoming coming up in a few weeks, setup to for a DIY versus Trick and partner.
I love this. I love the whole segment. That theme song. I goddamn miss that theme song. I'm a DIY fan. I'm a DIY fan ever since they came into NXT. Yun nga, we talked about the shirt that they were wearing. I didn't even want that shirt, but it's not available anymore. I hope they re-released it because it's one of the nicest shirts that I've seen in the last decade. And I don't care about the alignment. I mean, it is NXT. They're not gonna get booed in NXT. They are literally, I know, like 1A, 1B of that brand. So it makes sense that they were na babyface sila doon in that segment, especially going up against Trick Williams. But yeah, it looks like this is gonna be they're gonna have a tag team match at Homecoming. Ang naisip ko tuloy because Trick had that promo after that segment is, what if they reunite Trick and Mello for Homecoming? That would be cool.
Mm-hmm.
Emil doesn't have a problem with the alignment. I do. This is exactly why nobody takes NXT as seriously as people should. Kasi it's really acting like hindi nagmamatter yung mga action sa NXT and in the larger main roster picture. Because even just looking at how Candice LeRae is still a heel, but the other two are faces all of a sudden without any sort of explanation, really just shows na may delineation talaga between NXT being developmental and NXT being the third actual brand. Because if there was uniformity in storytelling, then NXT would be the third brand. Pero obviously wala. Kasi they can just do, it's basically telling me na you can do whatever you want. As an alumni, you can do whatever you want at NXT and then go, and pero pagdating mo sa main roster, balik ka na sa dati. Right? And that's a little weird to me because NXT is supposed to be the third brand, pero yet they have all this leeway to do whatever.
To be fair, the DIY in that segment weren't really baby faces. They were still they still speak the same as they are on SmackDown. Ang difference lang is the NXT crowd is not gonna boo them. The NXT crowd is not gonna boo them.
It doesn't matter if the NXT crowd isn't.
They were
going
still
to boo
heelish.
Yeah, they were. Wait, first of all, sabi mo, they came out to the face music. Doon pa lang, hindi na sila heel.
Okay.
Right? So that's it right there. So it really comes down to the presentation of how they treat their characters. Yes, they were talking in a heelish sense. Diba? And yes, the NXT crowd isn't going to boo them. But that didn't stop them before. Diba? Just look at the Finn Balor when he made his return. He was still a heel, but he was also still getting cheers. Diba? So parang hindi din matter masyado yung crowd because your job as a wrestler is to really just get heat, right? Or put yourself over. Diba? Yan yung kailangan mong gawin in the ring, right? And with how they were presented, parang hindi din nakatulong sa larger storytelling picture nitong DIY. Because it's a little confusing now. Yung alignment pa lang nilang tatlo, so wishy-washy.
What do you think of this analogy na parang high school mo yung NXT? For these alumni, di ba? Na parang, when you leave NXT, when you graduate into the real world, you can be an upstanding citizen or you can be an asshole with zero moral fiber. Pero when you go back to high school, it's like high school never ends.
Yeah, sure, fair. Pero that squashes the talk of NXT being the third brand, diba? That squashes any main roster opinions you might have about NXT because it's really just developmental.
Okay. I mean, at this point, they kind of stopped treating it as a third brand naman already. But yeah, I can see yung point ni Chino.
Mm-hmm. With Homecoming being a couple of weeks away, sino pa yung gusto nyo magpakita from NXT's alumni? Which, when you think about it, you look at the main roster, I would say 80-85% of the main roster
nasa point na
are
tayo,
NXT alumni.
Yes, nasa point na tayo where almost all the main roster people are NXT graduates. And that's good. It just shows that the program works. I personally would love to see Shinsuke back in the ring kahit sa NXT. He's been out a while. That would be a great way for him to make a return. Hopefully also, and this might be a stretch, Nick Nemeth. former NXT champion Nick Nemeth might also make an appearance during Homecoming. Kasi pwede, may partnership naman, diba? He was NXT champion for quite a bit, so I wouldn't mind
But
seeing
when you
him.
say NXT, you don't really think of Ziggler.
Yeah, that was
Hindi
in
siya
ano,
as ano eh, hindi
that
siya
was
as
in-
matunog as
Oo.
Yeah, sabi
Bailey
ko
or
nga kaya,
an
that's why I
Undisputed
said-
Era or
Yeah,
That was
you
in
know.
that's why I said
2.0
stretch.
era.
So, that's why I said stretch.
Okay.
Ikaw, Emil, sinong sinuggest mo sa writer's room niyo?
I mean, the OGs, syempre, Finn Balor, that would be cool. Sino pa ba? Bailey, you mentioned Bailey. Yun nga, kasi ano din sa ongoing storyline niya, yung she's having this dual
Breakdown,
personality
diba?
thing, diba? So, a lot of the names. Sami Zayn. He was the heart and soul of that brand for years, diba? So it would be cool to see Sami Zayn, back in Full Sail. But yeah, I think they're gonna stack up the show as really parang ECW One Night Stand 2005 feels na parang homecoming, parang it's a reunion. So I hope they go all out for that.
Pero nung sinabi mo yung word na reunion, naramdaman ko agad yung tanda ko eh. Like, it hasn't been that long, guys. Calm down with your reunions. It hasn't been that long. Wala pang 10 years to, nagre-reunion na kayo.
I mean, Black and Gold has been there. Was established like 2012. So matagal na rin,
Oh, Chino, yung time ng NXT 5 has been a decade. Yes.
Oh my God.
10 years ago, the NXT 5 were Finn, Kenta, Sammy, Pac, and KO.
KO, yeah. That
was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
I stand corrected. Pero goddamn, still.
Kevin Owens was bringing the NXT Championship to Raw 10 years ago.
Yeah. Like Glendale gave a good suggestion in the comments. He said Paige. No.
Sorry, Paige.
She was the first NXT parang breakout. So malay natin, di ba?
Also the first women's champion.
First
on
women's
NXT.
champion, yes. Yeah.
And she's a free agent right now. Oh, pwede. Oh, Emil, alam mo nang gagawin mo.
Also another name,
love to see
Elias.
that,
I want to see Elijah in Full Sail again.
Well, he did. He's also done that. So.
Yeah.
All right. Let's take another Emil Nate dance break, and when we come back, some highlights from AEW. All right, let's talk about AEW All Out Toronto, which is going to be happening on the same day as WWE WrestlePalooza. So this will be on September 20 in the US, September 21 dito sa Pinas. That's on a Sunday. Apparently, yung start time ng All Out Toronto has been moved to earlier in the day. Seemingly, pero hindi pa kino-confirm kung ano yung intention talaga. But what effectively happened is it will avoid going directly head-to-head with WrestlePalooza.
Pucha, we're gonna have another 8-hour wrestling binge watch. Diba? We had that nung July, diba? With All Out and then Saturday Night's Main Event. But here we go again.
We just had that with Forbidden Door.
Yeah,
and,
nga pala, yeah.
Yeah. Just last month.
Oh, this goes back to yung WWE counter program. There was no need to put a PLE just to go against All Out. Like we already talked about the counter programming and how problematic it is, and this is an effect. Now, I mean, for some people who only watches one promotion, and that's fine, walang problema yun. But for us, we're gonna have to watch like 8 hours of wrestling for that day.
Sorry, Emil, that's the life you chose.
Yeah,
again, Emil.
I love this life, but again, this doesn't.
Why are you bitching about it? What the hell's your problem?
Why are you bitching about it?
This doesn't have to be this way because WWE chose to, just to be petty, I guess.
Why are you calling
Hindi ka-
WWE petty, Emil?
hindi ka
You chose to be a
kapitalista.
podcaster.
I did. I did.
Oh,
but,
ba't kasalanan ng kumpanya?
it's, you know,
Hindi
just
ka-
personal. Yeah. You know.
Remember, Emil, you are on record saying that the fans won the weekend during the AAA Forbidden Door Saturday Night's Main Event Evolution
I did
weekend.
say that.
So,
I did say that.
So
But-
you also benefited from this problem you are bitching about. Kaya walang umaasenso sa Pilipinas. Kaya sa mga taong katulad mo. Puro kayo reklamo.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's you know.
It's a nice problem to have. I remember when there were times na wala na tayo mapanood ng wrestling. And now we have too much wrestling. So, good for everybody. Yeah, so it's a problem, but I think it's a problem unique to super fans and to you know, pundits like us.
Or completionists.
Diba? Yeah, exactly. Isa tayo lang eh. In the general sense, a lot of people aren't really going to sit through 8 hours of wrestling. Diba tayo? We need to do it because it's part of our jobs here on the Wrestling Podcast. But for the most part, WWE fans will just watch WWE. AEW fans will just watch AEW. Ang pinag-aawayan talaga nila dito is, and I don't want to get political here, the undecided. Diba? Yung watches both. Diba? They really want us to get to watch one or the other, especially people with the purchasing power to buy an ESPN PLE or an AEW pay-per-view. So yun talaga yung gusto na lang habulin. And that's just the way a capitalist system works. Diba? Siyempre, may market competition yan. So, you know, it is what it is, I guess.
Oh, look at Chino lecturing on supply and demand and economics.
Ini-embrace ko na yung pagka-Chinoy ko eh. So, part na yun mo.
Kalain mo yun, kaya pala ni Chino yung mga high-level concepts.
Basta pera kaya ko yan. Basta pera natin yun.
All right, let's go to Dynamite, where we saw the return of Riho, who we haven't seen in a few months. She went and saved Alex Windsor after Mercedes Moné was putting on a post-match beatdown. Riho returned and immediately attacked Mercedes Moné, and then it was announced later in the show that she gets a TBS championship shot next week.
I have a problem. I have a big problem with this one.
Oh, are we playing Nathan already?
I have a big no offense to Riho. I'm not a Riho hater whatsoever. But diba, you said it, Stan, dun sa Discord. Like poor Alex Windsor had to go through a four-way, diba? Four-way just to get this match. But Riho just came back after being gone for a while and she gets a title shot right away. Like, diba, usually they put, like, you know, they have an eliminator match muna, you know, against the champion before. I thought that was the way. I thought that was the way that it goes in AEW. But in kayfabe, what has she done to get a title shot? You know, because for me as a fan, she's been gone for a while. So parang, sa rankings, nasa bottom siya, diba? So forget she attacked the champion, she get a title shot right away. That's parang yung butas na notice ko with how they book this. And yun nga, I was thinking, you know, like poor Alex Windsor, because she yung push niya is just, you know, one of those, you know, you come in, you get a push right away, you get a title match, then you lose, then after that you go back to doing nothing, which I hope doesn't happen to Alex Windsor. But you know, history tells us that this does happen with most of their women wrestlers. Diba? We start with Megan Bayne after nung title match against Toni Storm. She hasn't really done any meaningful feud after that. So you know, it just sad because I'm actually a big fan of Alex Windsor. She was really impressive against Mercedes Moné kanina.
Yeah, Emil hit it on the head here. Medyo weird din kasi yung history ni Riho sa AEW. She's a full-time talent with AEW, pero nakikita lang natin siya like once a quarter, diba? If that. Right? Like, and if I'm not mistaken, the last time Riho was on AEW programming, she was also in the title picture right away. Diba? Parang drop din siya right in the middle of the title picture. So parang ang weird na matik may pass siya lagi. Like I get that she's a rare treat here for AEW fans, but at least make her work for it. Diba? Parang, kasi hindi ka, story-wise, nababearing na nga yung mga talents like Alex Windsor, diba? Like Megan Bain, diba? Like all the people mentioned here, pero it's nothing against Riho. Again, I also don't have a problem against Riho. I have a problem with how she's being booked.
Clarify lang natin yung sa rant ni Emil kanina. Alex Windsor had to qualify to get to a fatal four-way, which she lost, and then parang yung kinokontest na it wasn't fair, diba? Kasi I think it was Bozilla or Persephone who got
Forbidden Door.
who got pinned or submitted nung Forbidden Door. So she wanted a one-on-one match. So she's gone through all of that, whereas Riho, all she had to do was be, parang maganda na yung timing niya. She returned, saved Alex Windsor, and then attacked the champ. And then yun na, siya na yung next in line. So that's what Emil was ranting about.
Yeah, it's sobrang labo. At least have an eliminator match. Kumbaga, if they want Riho versus Mercedes, but not this way.
Baka 30-day working visa lang to series.
We all no, baka siguro, yeah.
Diba? Kaya,
wala si Emil dun sa writer's room dun eh.
Lipat ka na, Emil.
Kaya siya di nasusunod eh. Last bit here before we wrap it up. Last week we talked about how Hook came back and did not address the fact na he was still technically 1/3 of the lineal trios champions. And then now, di ba, si Powerhouse Hobbs na yung nandun in his spot. So, ito na. Hook came out to help, sino to? Darby Allin, nung start of the show? Si Darby ba yung tinulungan niya?
Yes, si Darby.
Yeah. And then, during his entrance where he was taking his sweet time, the Ops came in and ran towards the Death Riders. And then, in a backstage segment, sinabi ni Samoa Joe kay Hook na, yes, I made the call. I didn't even let the body get cold. We replace you because Hobbs stepped up. So what do you think about the way that was explained?
Pwede palang ganun sa wrestling, straightforward na usapan. No, walang misunderstanding, that doesn't get too complicated. Like Joe just went straight to it. Like dude, you got injured. We don't have any time to wait for you, so I got another guy. But parang sinabi din niya na no matter what though, we have your back. Parang yes, that's so badass. Like
why is that badass to you, Emil?
Because parang with the way Joe speaks and with the way Joe acts, parang honorable siya. Honorable siyang tao. So, and he's so menacing. Parang every word that he said, you're gonna believe. And this something, just something with how Joe speaks, and yun nga, it was.
Yung tipong pag sinabi ni Samoa Joe, basura to pero kainin mo to, masustansya to, kakainin mo?
No, I think what Emil is trying to say here is may isang salita sa Samoa.
May isang salita yun.
Like when he's out there in the wilds of AEW, what he says goes, diba? And diba? So he said, hey, we need a third guy. Wala ka. Sorry na lang. Pero sana no hard feelings. Gets ko naman yun, diba? Because it's like again. You guys want to relate it to real life. It happens in real life. Shit happens, diba? You can either take it personally or not. See, Darby chose not to. Makes him the better man, in my opinion. So, congrats.
Hindi naman si Darby yung part ng team nila eh.
Hook
was actually part of their team.
I misspoke. I meant Hook. Hook didn't take it personally. So, congrats to him, diba?
I actually am not sure what Hook's reaction was kasi he didn't really say anything. Parang tiningnan lang niya sina Joe and Hobbs, diba? Tapos parang si Hobbs yung medyo agit. Si Joe yung parang level-headed pa despite the stern nature of what he said. So, I don't know, parang I do agree with what you guys said na may isang salita yung Samoa Joe character. But I also felt like Samoa Joe was able to Big Brother Hook the way that Briggs was not able to Big Brother Javon on NXT.
Yun, kasi Hook nga is yung character niya, he's parang sugod lang ng sugod. Parang gano'n. He's a young cat. Parang in a way, tama ka, Joe did Big Brother Hook, but at the same time, he did promise that he will still have his back no matter what. So I'll trust. If I was Hook, I'll trust Joe on his word.
Yeah, sana may story implications din tong having his back. Like, I want to see it really get tested out here. Diba? Like, how much of his back does Joe really have? You know, how far will he really go para rest bakan tong si Hook? Diba?
Well, even Hobbs said na I've always had your back, diba? Alluding to yung time nila yung Team Taz. So there was that bit of continuity. I don't know kung napansin nyo.
Yeah. So sad nga, diba? That they show us how
Hala, na-disconnect si Chino. Si Hook ata yun.
Hook that time.
You're back.
Yeah.
Sorry, that last sentence you said got cut off.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, so just sana they show us how allied they really are. Diba? Like how far they really are going to go in this war.
Ang sa akin lang is I appreciate how Samoa Joe was written here. Kasi, yun nga, very realistic actually, diba? I can believe that this rugged, grizzled veteran thinks like this. Diba na parang, wala ka injured ka we wanna keep fighting. Meron tayong pinaglalaban dito, champion tayo, pinalita ka namin, sorry. Diba? Like, we know these people. We've seen these people in real life. So, I will give credit na this was a nice nuance that they added to babyface Samoa Joe because he's been heel here as well. So it's a good way to maintain his edge while also giving him some form of moral high ground kahit papano.
I mean, yeah, you said it yourself. Samoa Joe is a veteran, diba? Compared to Hobbs and Hook dito sa arrangement na to, diba? Sabi nga ni Emil, Hobbs is a little more hot-headed. That's because he's not as grizzled as Samoa Joe, diba? So Joe is looking at things from a more objective standpoint here. So may approach siya that's unique to him because he's in the position that he's in. So I like how they're reflecting that then as far as the story goes. Diba? And it's just a thing that just shows you na nag-evolve din si Samoa Joe. He's not just a bruiser, diba? He's a thinking man's bruiser, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. All right. So that's going to do it here for the live stream. Let's get to some plugs. Chino, what do you have going on?
Yeah, so a few things happening on my end. I have a new episode of the Class Clown podcast dropping tomorrow. I am joined by comedian and brand new member of a live D&D sort of improv show called Dice Please. It's happening real soon, and he will drop the details on the episode. I'm joined by Pao Sampang, and we talk about my newfound appreciation for the world of Dungeons and Dragons and tabletop RPGs. He talks me through his first experience as a DM, and I talk to him about my first experience as a player, and we just really get to nerd out about tabletop RPGs. So if that's your thing, give it a listen. It drops tomorrow at noon at all your podcast aggregators of choice. Also, tomorrow night, I will be back at Gordon Ramsay's Bar and Grill, closing things out for their first ever all-English comedy showcase. I am joined by Ryan Puno, Anissa Villaverde, Mikey Andres, as well as premier Filipino-Canadian comedian Ron Josol as our headliner. This is for Gordon Ramsay Bar and Grill's first year anniversary. So hopefully you guys can come by and join us. And
Chino, bibilan mo ba kami ng order mo pa kami ng beef Wellington?
Nakain ka na ba ng beef Wellington?
Bibilang ko kayo ng isang sticky toffee pudding. Maghati kayong dalawa. Sige.
Hindi mo sinagot yung tanong namin bumili ka na ba ng beef Wellington?
Yeah, ayaw nga nila. Hindi nga nagbigay ng I'm not here to disparage the brand. I would just say, kasi maganda yung treatment nila sa akin. Matalino ako, di ako parang si Emil Nate. Na hindi pa nga nasi-sponsor yung brand, tinira na niya. Okay. I will say na pag nanonood kayo, libre ko kayo ng isang sticky toffee pudding. Maghati kayong dalawa ni Emil. Alright? So, show starts at 8 p.m. That's at Newport Mall in Pasay City. Also, I will be on a future episode of Chinoy by Blood, Filipino by Heart.
It's Chinese by Blood, Filipino by Heart. Ayusin mo naman. Kaya ka di binibigyan ng beef Wellington put.
Chinese by Blood, Filipino by Heart on the Billionario News Channel. Please be on the lookout for that. I will be joined by Stanley Chi and Ansa C. And for everything I do, link.tr.ee/Chino Supersize. Supportahan nyo ako, bumili akong bagong cellphone ng di oras. wala akong tax funds. Kailangan ko ng pera. Alright.
All right. As for me, new season of Now Steaming set to drop this Monday. We did plan to release this season ng Ghost Month. So ito na. Hinintay lang namin mag Ghost Month. It won't end until like the 24th. So yun. Word to the wise, if you are superstitious and do observe Ghost Month, di pa pwede pumirma ng kontrata. All right? Don't go buying a house or don't go getting married during this time of the year. That's it for us here on the Wrestling Podcast. Huge thanks, as always, to Babyface producer Jasper for always putting us over. And make sure to follow the show at Wrestling Podcast on Facebook and Instagram, at Wrestling2XPod everywhere else. You can hit us up individually. It's at _Stan C, at Roeswar, at Chino Supersize, at EML_Meister. We got to get out of here, so we'll catch you next week for our weekend reacts and our picks of the week. But until then, on behalf of Chino Liao and Emil Nate, please stay safe, stay dry, and don't be a dick. Wrestling Podcast out. Later, Outcasts.
Peace.